Hey there. Can you guys hear me? Please answer in the chat box. Okay, I can see that you do. It's very nice. Give me a few seconds and I will give a few seconds to the rest of our coming people to gather and settle down. Okay, good. And can you see the presentation? Okay, that's very nice. So hey there, and thanks so much for joining us to webinar today. We'll wait for a few more minutes to give everyone a chance to join and settle down. All right, let's just start right now. And thanks again for joining us today for a webinar as a part of our series of educational webinars. And today's one is titled Take Your App to the Top this holiday season. And now let's move on to the next slide. And this slide is about your presenter today. I am Anna Lazitskaya and I run growth team at Onde. And I am actually super excited to be running this webinar, a bit nervous and very, very excited to be sharing some insights and what we already know about our existing customers and share all my experience in user acquisition. And actually, another thing I want to tell you is why this presentation is branded Onde. As you can see it now on the screen. The reason for this is that we are rebranding to Onde, and from the next week, you will know us as the Onde company. And it's a great news for us. We're also really, really excited about it. Now, before we kick it off, let's start with some housekeeping rules. Everyone at the audience will be on mute. So they're going to be just one speaker and it's me. And if you have some questions, please don't hesitate and use the chat box on the right on your screen and submit your questions throughout the webinar, and after the webinar, we will answer it afterwards. The webinar will take roughly 35 to 40 minutes and we'll have two parts, the presentation itself and questions afterwards. We will also record the webinar. I will email you out the slides and recording later this week. And at the end, I think you'll get a short survey that if you can fill out for us to help us improve the webinar, our activities, and maybe find out and discover any interesting topics. So let's go. The agenda. It is really great for you today because we'll talk about how to manage your seasonal activities, why it is important at the moment, and how to get started with it. You get a whole plan and a template for your campaigns. Now, why we are focusing on holidays? Well, it's almost holidays time, so it is the busiest period of the year, and it is the perfect time to reach your audience with the custom-made content. People are spending an increasing amount of time on mobile browsing right now because they are browsing for gifts, they are researching products or buying some last-minute deals and so on and so forth. And there's no better time for your audience actually to engage with your brand and to be connected with them emotionally. They can try your product, and it's a good chance for you to remind about yourself and try to retain your existing users and get the new ones. And the template I will talk about today is actually usable for any of your marketing activities, for any holidays or other occasion of your choice. So here we go. Step number 1, setting your goals. First of all, you need to define what you want to get this holiday. Think business and the stage of your business development. Are people aware of your mobility application existence, or are they considering it might be the right product among others? If you already operate, you want to drive more conversions like installs and therefore get more successful rides. If you are in the launch stage, you need to focus on it. And before you start, think about the numbers you want to reach. The examples of the goals can be the following. Encourage installs of your application and increase the number of rides during the peak holiday season, for example. Or create product awareness among a really large and active holiday audience. That's also a good goal. And think about numbers. If you already have the number of installs, think how you can increase it, because it's a really nice chance and you need to use it. Try not to waste it right now. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the analytics. They say that you cannot manage what you cannot measure, and that's the truth. This way, you need to have your measurement plan ready beforehand to track your ads progress and change what works and what doesn't work on the go. Because every advertising system and platform has a learning phase. After it is finished, you can analyze and adapt your creative. For instance, some banners may not work. Some banners for your audience with, I don't know, Santa Claus may not work. And others with other contexts may work. And this is where you need analytics. You need to track how many installs were provided by certain campaigns. Here's a list of the tools that we provide to track your holidays campaigns, and actually not just holidays campaigns, anything. So Facebook Analytics, Facebook SDK is integrated into every Onde-powered branded solution. You can request access from our support team if you are not already using it. And the rest of them are custom requested analytical tools that are also integrated at the moment. So let's get a little deeper into our Facebook Analytics tool. Facebook Analytics collects all data about your app usage in one dashboard. App users do not have to sign in via Facebook or even to have a Facebook account at all. It provides It just provides app users demographic, characteristics, devices they use, the pages they like. And this is a great source of ideas on partnering with other companies your target audience is already interested in or even engaged with. And the holiday season is the perfect time to start such a partnership and to go ahead with it. A little more about Facebook Analytics. It's a list of all post-install events tracked by Facebook. What post-install means? It means that you'll be able to see how people attributed to a certain ads campaign behave after installation. So if I run a Facebook ad depicting Santa Claus, for instance, I can see how many people that saw this banner, this advertisement, this ad set, canceled orders, and how many of them had successful trips, how many of them added their cards, and so on and so forth. And here's a list. And the next one is Firebase Analytics. It tracks your app usage and also your paid acquisition channels. Here's an important note, for example, for your iOS applications. If you want to use universal app campaigns powered by Google for your iOS app, it is the only way to track installs for each campaign. And advanced analytics that is mentioned here will also include all the post-install events tracked by Facebook mentioned in the previous slide. That's an upgrade for our Firebase Analytics. The next, but not the least, is Apps Flyer. If you want to use different channels and actually spreading your budget across channels is highly recommended, and you want to track all campaigns in one place, we have Apps Flyer integrated. Also, if you use Snapchat as your user acquisition channel and want to track conversions, Apps Flyer is also a must. And it basically tracks your users' activities after they, all the funnel, starting from banner on the social network and then going to the App Store, installing the application, and then going and opening up your app, launching it, ordering a taxi or other service that you provide. And you can see all your paid channels in one dashboard, so it's really convenient. And before we are moving on to the audience, here's a little summary about analytics. All the tools that I already mentioned are helping you to measure, target, and optimize your campaigns based on real data from your application, based on the real usage and all the post-install activities. And all the events that were listed on the Facebook slides mean that all these events are really, really relevant to your business, for your business success, mainly. That's what you need to track, first of all. And one of the most important thing is audience, and it is all about targeting. Because when you set up targeting, you need to understand your audience. And here, what you can do is to dive deeper into the demographics, location, and location means not just countries or cities. Very often you can track it up to certain places or places visited for some analytics and social networks. And you can also see some purchase patterns of your current and potential customers. And the above mentioned Facebook Analytics is a perfect tool for it, for analyzing and researching your audience. Here's a little more detailed view of the audience that you can use. Advertising tools like Facebook and Snapchat allow setting up custom audiences based on different matching. And custom audience is the way to address exactly the people who already know your business, which is good because they are most likely to take the targeted actions. And if they are familiar with your business, the cost per acquisition gets really lower. That's what you need to try out yourself. It works perfectly well. We also use it for our marketing campaigns. And here's on this slide, you can see the types of audiences that you can use with a Snapchat, for example. Like I've already mentioned, it's audience matching, so you can upload a list of your existing customers, and then Snapchat is going to check if they have these customers and create a really similar community. And the lookalikes is about finding similar audience. I will tell about it a little bit later. And engagement audience are people who already interacted with the advertising. You can reuse these audience and show them some other ad sets and try to engage them, re-engage them, and get them back to your application. And the next one is lookalike audiences. So as I've already said, the lookalike audiences are a list of people advertising platforms make after analyzing who the existing users of your app is. The interest, behavior, and demographic characteristics of a lookalike audiences are resembling to those of your active users. Thus, these people are very likely to join your brand community and use your application as designed. The next one is defining acquisition channels. Well, basically what you want to do about paid user acquisition, and especially during the holiday season, is arranging a whole system of mobile user acquisition activities and splitting budget among them. And this is how you can get an impressive result. Well, what we recommend now is using trustworthy traffic sources like Facebook, Instagram, Universal, App Campaigns by Google, and Snapchat. You can read about setting up campaigns with each of them in our blog. And now I'll tell a little about each of the channels. So Google Universal App Campaigns is based on machine learning algorithms. It means that they automatically advertise the app to the right users at the most relevant moments. What you need to do is to have a set of text messages and just give it to Google, and they will run your campaigns using really smart machine learning. Uber is using them extremely successfully in many locations, and there are many successful cases that are spread in the media about universal app campaigns. That's highly recommended to use. Facebook and Instagram. Actually, you use the same Facebook Ads Manager to run campaigns. And what they provide is an extremely fine defined targeting. You can choose people of very narrow social categories, or like someone who likes soup, I don't know, and even a certain type of or brand of soup, or some people who are likely to buy a Tesla in the next few months, for example. And the targeting opportunities are really unlimited, I would say, with Facebook and Instagram. You can play around with it, you can get deeper and customize it all the time. Snapchat, a really interesting one. Well, actually, basically it works as a live video streaming channel, and this is why it attracts especially young users. They are looking for real, trustworthy content, and it has very specific format, like short videos that are available for watching for a rather short time span. And if you want to target a marketing campaign for young people and drive installs specifically for them, Snapchat is the ultimate solution here. So go into creative formats, and creative formats are really about your audience. Here's an example of formats for Snapchat, like video, live or animated, a still image, a cinematograph or GIF-like or story ads. And the main rule is to look natural in the environment you work. Here, you need to find a balance between your branding, your brand messaging, and the content relevant to your audience. And basically, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And the main advice here is to test different approaches. So you basically never know what works best. And you need to test like 3 to 5 creatives, 3 to 5 banners to discover the most working one and then to use it in most cases. And this is when you back on your audience profile. You mostly try using video on Snapchat. You make 5 to 7 seconds pre-roll video ads on YouTube. Or you try creating really appealing, short, nice stories on Instagram or on Snapchat. And after you define audience and your channels, choosing formats gets easier. So the next one is the good news. All of it sounds like a lot of work, I guess, but you can always get help. What you can do is to hire a local agency and try to work with them because they should know local audience and target your campaigns really nicely. But if you want to work with just digital, we can run campaigns for you. And here's an early bird offer. Now we can make creative custom designs for your ads on Snapchat, specifically in partnership with the Snapchat team, because they are ready to share the insights and what really works with their audience to make your campaigns as successful as possible. And about design. Well, you see, people do not visit Facebook or Snapchat to look up services they need. So don't try to advertise as they were waiting to bump into your message or your branded logo or something else. That basically might work a little worse than a more creative approach. The most common advice is to get contextual. Show people familiar context that resonate with them. Well, it's holidays, for God's sake. Be fun. Play around with your user's context. Holiday spirit is all around, and you can become a part of it and a part of a certain emotional state that people will remember. And maybe try to play around with those who are stressed and depressed and feel lonely and try to make them smile. You can use this idea, put it in a certain context, and if you make them smile, they will remember it, and you can get a really, really engaged audience this way. And as for tricks that were promised in the advertising of our webinar, well, the trick about holiday design in the App Store is a bit contradictory because many companies update their creatives, like their icons and screenshot, basically. Also a video, but I guess it's too much work to do it for holidays. Only if you have a really, really nice plan how you can return your investment on these videos. But the thing is that if you launch decorated creatives and you change your icon, people see it, they think that there is something more. So you need to connect to this holiday spirit. And my suggestion is how you can connect to the spirit is you can create a new service type discounted for holiday and just advertise for it, or send out SMS that are going to announce your offer, and people will be able to find your new service type. Or you can just, rename your existing one and mention that you are doing it, you are into this holiday spirit, and you are really want to make your audience happy this season and remind about yourself. So that's what you need to do. Design with specific holidays features inside if you want people to upload your application and not be disappointed. And the approach, stand out. Stand out if you dare. You need to test different approaches. On the whole, everyone is speaking about mistletoe and beauty of Christmas. You can joke around this topic, mock it, and use creative that gets you stand out in the crowd. Don't hesitate to brainstorm and be different. You can be nice on the one hand, on the other hand, humor is your best choice. Maybe even some sarcasm. And here it is, the campaign, the promised campaign template. It's a list of all decisions you need to make before starting a campaign. So you need to have your campaign goal, you need to name your campaign. It's a really important one these days, I guess. Ad formats, channels, target audience, measurement plan, launch date, end date, and the estimated budget. And we actually can help you with all of it. And what I want to say you at the very end is happy holidays, guys. Okay, my emoji doesn't work here. Oh, that's sad. But still, happy holidays. So now, if you have some questions, you can type them in on the right. I think we'll wait for a few minutes for you to think it over. Okay, I think I see here a question about building a brand from Chris. Well, actually, as I've already mentioned, building your brand around these topic that is relevant at the moment is really nice because you influence some emotions of people, and this is how you remember things, because now you have such a huge amount of content that is everywhere, actually, on social networks, in your email, like anywhere. And I guess this is what can help you stand out and become not just some company, but a brand, a friend, and a partner. So that's my advice for branding. If you're guys really interested in the branding topics, just send us an email and we'll arrange a webinar on branding and tell you more about it. And we also, of course, can help you building a brand and doing it for you. Okay. Okay, here's a question about images on the App Store and its cost. I think, yeah, we will email you about this one. We can absolutely do it for you if you want it to be updated. Whoa, I got a really good question from Mihai, I guess. How to make an Uber-like taxi startup and how much is the cost? Well, how to make it is is a really nice question. Well, you need to buy your app solution first of all, and actually buying an app solution is like 10% of the work that you need to do, because everything actually starts after you launch, because you need to understand your audience profile, you need to drive traffic, you need to have drivers, you need to educate them, you need to create a brand, and it is really a piece of work. And actually we have a blog that tells exactly about it, how to start an Uber-like application, and you can read it there. You can also follow up us on it, and we'll tell you a little more about it. But basically, if you have any actually application, but especially a taxi application, now you have during the holidays time so many triggers to catch your audience and tell that you exist and that you can help them, I don't know, get gifts or get gifts delivered. And if you make a list of contacts that you can advertise actually your application, you'll be able to grow your app really easily. Just need to plan it out. And about the cost, you can contact our sales department or just follow us up, and we will actually contact you after the webinar. Now another question: how can we get different icons on the transportation? It's now only cars. We do have an operation bikes. Well, it's actually, I guess, not a really of a marketing question or holidays marketing question. I guess you can request it as a feature, like not having just cars, but bikes, tuk-tuks, because actually some of our clients don't have just cars but bikes as well, in London for instance, or tuk-tuks in Cambodia. So it can be a separate request. I guess you need to contact our support team about it. All right. Well, I guess if there are no more questions about marketing, we'll call it a day and wrap it up. I hope this was useful to you, and please don't hesitate to give us some feedback. We'll send you out a survey about our webinar. And thanks so much for coming, and have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.